Hello, thank you for stopping on my video. My name is Becky and this is Becxreadz. I post videos every 5 days, and if I can manage, I will squeeze some in between, and today is the start of a weekly reading vlog. Okay, so today is March 7th. I got my cute little Prime Dating Agency calendar. It is technically Tuesday. No, it's not going to be a full weekly reading vlog, but I don't have any sort of theme to read off of, so I'm just going to share with you the books that I am reading this week. Hopefully I get them done this week. I'm going to start Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castile, which is the book that won my Pick My Monthly TBR. As y'all know, I have no freaking clue what this is. It's a young adult fantasy, I believe. We'll see. We'll see how I like it. So I'm going to start that. I am currently reading Era of Uncertain Magic by Charlie Ann Holmberg. I haven't gotten too far into it. I want to say I'm only like 20% into it. I'm not loving it at the moment. It's much more mystery focused. I don't really like mysteries all that much. And it's lacking the character chemistry that I loved from the first book and like the whimsical nature of it. So hopefully that picks up, but that is what I am currently reading. Audiobook wise, I'm not listening to anything right now on audiobook. I really need to figure out what I want to listen to. And yeah, so that is what I've got going, and once I make some progress on all these things, I will update you on the way. It's Wednesday today, and I thought I would give you an update on how my reading is going. So I've made it into 100 pages of Spellslinger. So far, it is about a boy named Kellen who he lives in this magical world, I'm guessing. The world really wasn't set up very well. Like, I don't really know much about this world. I was just like, bam, here you are. But these kids are about to turn 16, and so they participate in these trials to like get their mage name and to become a spellcaster. But Kellen has no magic. Well, he has a little bit, but the older they get, like, their magic decreases, I guess. But he doesn't have a lot of magic, and so he uses his wits about him and his smarts to try and pass these trials. And one day he has successfully passed this trial when his sister calls him out and says that he has cheated. And she ends up killing him when this mysterious woman comes along and she saves his life, and she takes him back to his father, who is like this very powerful guy. He is in line to be like a clan prince. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of this means. I read those 100 pages really quickly and I was interested. I just don't know what the fuck is going on with this story because I wasn't given a very good setup to it. I don't have a real deep connection to any of these characters. I do like the family dynamics going on. It's focusing a lot on Kellen and his sister and his parents' relationships and the magic that is in his family that he doesn't have. So I like that and I'm entertained, but I just wish I knew what was going on. And I don't. I'm feeling incredibly lazy today though, and I don't feel like cooking anything. So I am going to make me some mac and cheese. I haven't had mac and cheese, like Kraft mac and cheese, in the longest time. It's been a few years because I ate it quite often for quite a few months and I got sick of it and I haven't had it since. But it is like the only thing I have in this house that doesn't require me to cook. So I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna be lazy. What other books was I telling you? Oh, I started an audiobook. I am listening to the graphic audio of A Court of Wings and Ruin for the ACOTAR read-along that Jess at Honest Fiction is doing. So I'm listening to that. I am almost done with the first part because I think it's split up into 3 parts this time, which really doesn't make sense because the first and second books were only split up into 2 parts. And the second book is longer than the third book. So I don't know why, but it says part 1 of 3. I don't know, but I'm almost done with the first part and I'm really enjoying the graphic audio. And then ebook wise, I am 35% into Era of Uncertain Magic. I'm still not loving it per se, but it's getting better. There's some tension between Merritt and Hulda, Hulda, Hulda. Don't know how you say her name. There's some tension between them. I think Merritt wants to progress in their relationship, and Hulda has some, like, she's very insecure, and so she doesn't really believe that he would want to progress in their relationship, and that's causing some tension between them. So it's got a little bit more of a romantic element now, which I am liking, but it's still just not as whimsical as the first book. But that's how far I am. So I'm gonna get to making me some dinner. I'm done eating that Kraft mac and cheese, and I realized that I haven't been missing anything by not eating that, because it's not good. I mean, it filled me up, but ew. So I am going to do my yoga tonight.
If you're new to minimal cues yoga, it just means that I'm going to call out the pose, but then I don't really talk. We're going to be in each pose for about 5 breaths or so.
For bedtime update, I have made it halfway through Spell Slinger, and I can't really update you on much because I'm still feeling the exact same way as I felt at 100 pages. I really still don't have any freaking clue what's going on in this. And it's not like it's a hard book to understand. It's a young adult fantasy. It's not that complicated. I just don't understand this world. Like, I know there are these kids who are trying to pass these trials to become mages and get their mage name. And there's, like, families who are almost like enemies of each other. They're trying to be the most powerful family. That's the extent of it. Kellen here, he's losing his power. And so if he loses his power, he's going to be pretty much a servant in this world. And so he's trying to con his way through these trials without having any magic. But I just wish the world was set up, because I really don't understand, like, the hierarchy of this world. I don't understand why these families hate each other. I don't understand the purpose of being a mage. Like, is it just to have magical powers? What are you doing with these magical powers? Are you fighting each other? Like, there was a mention that there was a war at one time, but there's not, like, a war currently. So I don't understand. Why are the people who have no magic, why are they pretty much servants for the people who do have magic? Like, is there nothing else in this world that people without magic can't do? I don't know the answers to these questions. So I'm pretty much just following a boy who's trying to con his way into getting a mage name. And this book is set up into sections of, like, the 3 trials he has to go through. And in the second one, I don't really know the purpose of it. I think it was to, like, get a bond with an animal familiar, which is something that's really hard to do in this world, apparently. This creature comes flying out. He thinks it's the animal that he prayed to his ancestors to send him. He doesn't see it as a threat, but his father shows up and he's like, no, this is a very deadly creature. It will suck the magic out of us, blah, blah, blah. And so he enslaves it. And Kellen needs to go and rescue this creature because he knows that it's not as evil as his father thinks it is. And when he shows up to rescue this creature, he finds, like, a few of his, not really friends, but people he's in this, like, trial with, the girl he had a crush on. They're there torturing this creature. So he gets this creature freed. They beat him up, and in doing so, this creature bites him, and now he can hear the thoughts of this creature. So does that mean this creature is bonded to him? Did he succeed in getting a bonded animal? I would think so, but I don't know how it works in this world. Like, is that what a bonded creature is? Does it do something else for you? Like, I don't know the answers to these questions, and It drives me crazy because I don't know anything about this freaking world. So that is where I'm at this point. I am liking that it's from a boy's perspective, and I like the idea of this kid who doesn't have any magic, like, conning his way into being perceived as he does. I like that a little bit. My biggest issue is I don't understand this world because it isn't explained well enough for me. But that is where I'm at with that. I didn't make any progress in my audiobook or my ebook. I will probably read some of my ebook while I am laying in bed, so I will have an update on that tomorrow. Thursday night, so I thought I would give you an update. I finished reading Spellslinger, and it's a 3-star. Nothing really improved about it much. He found out that the reason he doesn't have any powers is because his parents have been slowly over the years, like, doing something to him to keep his powers at bay, because his grandmother did something to him to, like, bring out, like, what they call this shadow dark or shadowbound or something like that, which pretty much means that he's going to be evil or something. And so they've been trying to suppress his magic to stop that from happening. And so that leads him to running away from his parents, and then his sister gets kidnapped, and they find out that the people who kidnapped his sister are actually the people who don't have magic. They're tired of being slaves, and so they want to rise up against the people who do have magic. I mean, it's fine for a YA fantasy. I think younger teens would enjoy this more. Next physical book that I'm going to read is going to be Dragon Unleashed by Grace Draven. This is the second book in her Fallen Empire series. This is an adult fantasy romance. I'm really not sure what it's about, to be quite honest. I'm assuming there's going to be a dragon. I finished listening to A Court of Wings and Ruin on audiobook. I still give it 5 stars. I actually cried a little bit at that one. Even though I knew what was going to happen, I cried a little bit at it. So, I listened to the graphic audio. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I really enjoy the graphic audios of the ACOTAR series. I plan on listening to A Core of Frost and Starlight, but I think it's just like the regular audio. So we'll see how I feel about like a singularly narrated audiobook. The next audiobook I'm going to listen to is The Waking Forest by Alyssa Wees. I actually got an audio arc from NetGalley, probably because they're putting out the audiobook for it, because I've had this book on my shelf for, I don't know, at least a year or so. So maybe they're just releasing the audio for it. But I figured, I saw it there and I figured, you know what? I have this book sitting on my shelf. I might as well listen to it on audio. I did recently read another book by Alyssa Wees, which I did not love. It was called Nocturne. And I found in that book that her writing was very overly descriptive. So I'm hoping that that's not the case with this one. From what I know about this one, it is about a girl who lives like on the edge of this forest, and sometimes this forest will appear, and when she tries to touch it, it'll disappear. And that's pretty much all I know. I haven't made any progress on my ebook of Heir of Uncertain Magic, so I'm still about, well, here, I'll tell you exactly where I'm at, because I have my Kindle right here. I'm still 31% into it, so haven't progressed in that any. But that is how my reading is going so far this week. So I guess I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Friday. I thought I would give you an update. So in my audiobook, I am about right there. I'm a little less than halfway. So this is a young adult contemporary fantasy. Half of it's contemporary, set in like the here and now, and the other half is fantasy. So it's about this girl who she can see this forest that nobody else can see, and it just pops up every now and then. And she can also hear this boy who comes and he appears in her attic of her family's house. And she's the only one who can really sense him. She can't see him because he only appears when it's really dark and he never shows himself in the light. But he is telling her the story of this witch who grants people's wishes, and I think they're connected somehow. He tells her that he can break the curse of her seeing this forest if she can guess his real name. Very Rumpelstiltskin-like, which the character even mentions that. I'm thinking she's a changeling and like her mortal family took her or something like that, because it has that feel like she isn't supposed to be with this human family. She's supposed to be somewhere else. She could be a fae or something like that. I'm really not sure. This author, once again, is just very overly descriptive with her words. Not to the extent of the last book that I read, where she just listed stuff off when trying to explain something, but she's still very overly flowery with her metaphors, which I'm not loving. I don't hate it enough to DNF it, because I'm curious to see where this all leads, but I can already tell that it's about a 3-star read for me. But I am halfway, or a little less than halfway through it. I need to write a review for NetGalley for it. As for my ebook of Heir of Uncertain Magic, I did make progress in this last night. I am now at about 45% into it. I'm liking the relationship between Merritt and Hulda a little bit more. They're starting to get a little bit more into their relationship dynamics. It's back in the time when, you know, if you slept around with people, you were considered a hoe. So Hulda, she is, I want to say in her late 20s, early 30s, something like that, and she is a virgin. And Merritt, he is, I think, 30. He may be 31. Anyway, he's in his early 30s, and he has only, like, slept with one person. He's the bad boy. So they're in this relationship, and he is very attracted to her, and he wants to take their relationship further, and she flat out tells him, I'm not going to sleep with you. I'm not ready for that. And he gets very hurt by this, as though that's the only reason he would want to be in a relationship with her is to have sex with her. And so he's very hurt by that, and they like leave, they have a little spat, they go their separate ways for a few chapters, and in those few chapters we're seeing Hulda sort of come to terms with her personality and how she feels about relationships, because she's never really been in a relationship, and how she needs to open herself up to be more vulnerable. I cannot say this word. Vulnerable. There we go. God damn, that's a hard word for me to say. She needs to open herself up to be more vulnerable and share her emotions, because she is a very stoic character. And so she's learning how to do that more. And I really liked the fact that even though they had a little spat and they had like hurt feelings, they didn't just like break up and cause too much drama. They just went their separate ways. They worked through their emotions separately, and then when they returned to each other, they sort of reconcile what happened. Still not as whimsical as the first one. The first one was just so cozy and whimsical with this like enchanted house, and in this one the house is no longer enchanted. There's not a lot of magic going on. Like Merritt, he has magic, but we're not seeing it used in a very like whimsical, fun way. It's me. It is still Friday. I needed to add something to this vlog because I like watching vlogs where people do stuff other than just read books. Unfortunately, I live a very boring life. I work from home and I don't ever leave my house, so I don't go anywhere exciting very often. Like, I do sometimes, but not regularly. Like, what the hell do I put in these videos, you know? I did do a little bit more reading since I last updated you. I've gotten a little bit further into Heir of Uncertain Magic. I think I'm at 54% now. So I'm over halfway through. And my feelings are still the same. Nothing much has changed there. I haven't listened to any more in my audiobook. I haven't even cracked open a new physical book, which I should really do, but it is just such a gloomy day. And I just want to take a nap. So, here, let me show you what it looks like outside. How gloomy. Don't mind my yard. It's spring and I haven't touched it since last fall, but it's so gloomy. Hoozle, I am going to make me some tomato basil chicken. I don't know what I'm gonna have with it. Maybe some corn. I don't know, but I'm gonna have some chicken anyway. So I'm gonna make that, and then I'm going to continue listening to my audiobook show. Let's get to cooking. So this recipe is really simple. You take your chicken, you take the fat off, you put it in a dish. You pour some tomato soup over it, you sprinkle some basil and oregano on top of it, and you bake it at 375 for 45 minutes. Happy Saturday morning. I hope you guys are having a good start to your weekend. I got a little bit more read in my audiobook. I am now about 70% into it. So this girl who can see like this forest and she can hear this boy, but she can't see him. Her family is starting to disappear one by one. And she doesn't know if she's dreaming that they're disappearing or if it's really happening to her. Because from what I get in this book is this girl dreams when this forest appears and when she talks to this boy. And so is her family disappearing? Is that part of the dream too? But when she wakes up, it's almost like her family doesn't know what's going on. I think she's dreaming. And I don't think she actually has this family. I think the family members that she thinks she has are all like parts of her. And I think somewhere else she is sleeping and certain parts of her are starting to wake up. And so when one of her family members disappears, that's a part of her waking up. That's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking this is like a Sleeping Beauty retelling type of deal. So at this point, I have reached part 2, and at the end of part 1, everything that I had thought up until that point was confirmed. That she was in fact sleeping. She is actually a princess, and the witch that was telling these stories and granting the wishes, it's her. She is the witch, but she's also the princess. I'm about to start part 2 of this book. And I really don't know where it's going to go because, like, you've revealed what's been going on. I feel like it's just trying to do too much. Is it a fairy tale? Is it a fantasy? Is it a contemporary? Is it dark? Is it twisty? It's trying to be all those things, and it's just not coming together in a very satisfying way. Like, it's a very unique story. I just don't love how it came together. But I did get some book mail. I think it's a book anyway. It feels like a book. I don't know if this is something that I ordered because, spoiler, I broke my book buying ban. My goal was to not spend money on books for 3 months. And I was so close, y'all. I was so close. It is mid-March. It is mid-March. So I lasted 2.5 months, okay? Yay me. But I did order 1 book. So I don't know if this is the book I ordered or not. So let's cut into it and see. I always like to keep these little packages because I sell books on Pango Books and I use these instead of buying my own. Oh, it is not one. It is The Glamourist by Luann G. Smith. This is the second book in the Vine Witch series. It is a historical, very light fantasy involving witches. So I don't know. Oh, there are notes. I love you from Kristen at Books Make Me Brainy. Aww, Kristen. That was sweet of her. So thanks. So I am gonna go. I'm gonna work on getting some reading done. I am going to finish this audiobook today because I only have 30% left in it. I'm listening to it at 3 times speed, so I will get that done. I have finally reached the end of this reading vlog. I finished The Waking Forest and I gave this a very low 3 stars. It was trying too hard to do too many things. And the last part, it was just, there was a lot added that didn't need to be there. I thought it was interesting, but not my cup of tea. I then finished reading Air of Uncertain Magic by Charlie Ann Holmberg, and I'm gonna give this 3 stars as well, which is a real shame because I really enjoyed the first book. I know throughout this entire freaking vlog I've been saying it just wasn't as whimsical and magical as the first book, and it just wasn't. This is much more a mystery. I don't even think I've told you what this is about, but at the end of the first book, Hulda's boss sort of disappears. She was sort of helping this villain of the story, and she disappears. So in this one, the main plot of the story is they are trying to figure out where she is at, and in the process of that, these people from London have come over and they are trying to sort of reorganize the Boston Institute for Keeper of Enchanted Rooms, Biker, and they're trying to dissuade Hulda from being the next person in line to manage that. Meanwhile, Merritt has come into his power and he's trying to track down his family because he hasn't seen his family in 13 plus years because of something that you discovered in the first book. So we have these sort of 2 separate plots going on, and the enchanted house, the magical house that was so prevalent in book 1 just isn't there in this one. The relationship between Hulda and Merritt, it never reached a point where I was satisfied with their relationship. Toward the end, they do come to a reconciliation of where they see their relationship going in the future, which is nice and all. I just wish it would have been more romantic, and I just didn't get that. To sum up, I finished Spellslinger. I gave that 3 stars. I finished The Waking Forest. I give this 3 stars. I finished Air of Uncertain Magic. I gave that 3 stars. And I finished listening to A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I gave 5 stars. So, I swear to Jesus, when am I going to do a reading vlog where I love all the things that I read? Because I tend to do these reading vlogs and they're always just full of disappointing books. I don't know what that says. My reading taste is just shit or what, but yeah, that's going to be the end of this reading vlog. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know in the comments, have you read any of these books? What are your thoughts on them? Or let me know what you read this week. And if you made it this far into this, what I would consider a lengthy reading vlog, could you please leave me the house emoji? Because I really wish that the house in the last book would have been enchanted too. And until my next video, read something that hopefully is good. Bye.